Hello everybody and welcome to OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack and I'm back with the fourth round of the first qualifier for the Limitless Invitational. So far in the tournament we are 3-0 playing ADP Zacian, and I'm feeling pretty good. 3-0 is a nice record to be at already. It looked like you were going to need to go either 10, pretty much at the time it was 10-4. So yeah, a 3-0 record is a good sort of starting point, which is nice. And deck lists are now up, so I know my opponent is playing against Obstagoon. Obstagoon should be a bit of a better matchup with the catchers because we can get around the Obstruct quite nicely, and we also play Mawile, which is really nice. And we've started ADP and Zacian, so we've got a pretty good start. We are going first as well, which is nice against Obstagoon because it means we're kind of ahead. We get to Altered Creation before they get to Evolve, which is good. So far it's looking pretty good. We do draw a lot of switches in the early game though, which is a bit of a pain. Switch is super important in this deck, and this hand isn't really going anywhere. I really want to be able to get an energy down this turn, to be able to Altered Creation next turn, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by going with a Dedenne, so unfortunately I do have to ditch some of these switches. But yeah, as I say, Obstagoon is a bit of a better matchup in general for the deck, just because we're playing Mawile to get more basics down for us to then be able to gust up and get around that really annoying Obstruct attack. Importantly, I don't play Fione. A lot of Obstagoon lists do play Stealthy Hood, so sometimes Fione isn't that useful anyway, but it's important it can be an important tool in the matchup, and I don't play it. It didn't matter too much in this game towards the end, but it would have been useful in a couple of spots. So yeah, I do Dedenne the switches away. I do hit a energy as well, which is really nice, hoping that there's no Faber or anything like that. We've already seen that in this tournament. I get the Absol down as well, which is another really nice trapping tool to try and slow my opponent down. And we then do hit some energy off of the Intrepid Sword as well. So it's all looking pretty good. We have a supporter that guarantees us an energy attachment next turn. We can already move the Jirachi into the active, out of the active and Altered Creation, unless there's any kind of Absol on his own side come down or anything like that. So, you know, it's looking like a pretty strong turn for us in general. He does get the catcher to try and slow us down a little bit as well, and then has to go for a Cynthia, and then just drops the one Zigzagoon, attaches, and passes it over. So this is potentially where the turn went down, the game went downhill. I don't know for sure whether this is correct, but my opponent has a 3-card hand, and all they could develop was a Zigzagoon. So I'm definitely going to go for pretty much the same line of play no matter what. But what I attach to with this energy is very, very crucial. And looking back on this game, I actually think I played it incorrectly. I have the option to Altered Creation. I have a catcher, so I can catcher and try and knock out his only Zigzagoon, or I can Alter Creation and use my catchers later on in the game in combination with Mawile to try and get around Obstruct when Obstruct has been set up. We know we have the retreat out of the Dedenne. My decision is very much based on catcher, so I go for the catcher first and I hit heads, and based on that I decide to go for the Zacian play. Again, on reflection, I think I should have gone for the ADP play. I got very greedy here. He drops a well played, so I don't know whether he thought it was the correct play or the incorrect play. I'm not sure, but either way, this board state means he has no access to goons next turn, which is key. But another thing that I had really sort of not considered is the fact that I was out of switches, so I was really going to be spending my energy quite heavily because I'm going to have to retreat between these different Zacians. So I do think on reflection that I should have ADP'd there. He puts a Sableye V down, which kind of feels like I've had a bit of a bailout because I can take 3 prizes on that later on in the game and sort of make up for the tempo I don't get by Altered Creationing on the first attacking turn of the game. So I'm pretty happy to see that Sableye come down. I know if he ever attacks with that Sableye, I'm going to be able to get a knockout on it. So I'm pretty pleased to see that. And then he does find a doll as well. So when we eventually knock out this Mew, he is going to be able to start putting some dolls up and really causing some issues. I don't have any form of sort of draw other than the Oranguru right now. So I have to kind of go for a Stellar Wish. Stellar Wish into absolutely nothing, which super sucks. But you know, I think this whole turn is kind of a mess. I think I would do things very differently going back on this. I think I would have Guru'd first to at least guarantee taking 2 cards, because obviously I didn't take a card from the Stellar Wish because it was no hits. I think I also, again, I wouldn't have Zacian, so I would have a very, very different board state right now. But even so, I still feel fairly ahead. He's got 1 Goon down, but there's only 1 energy attached to it, and I believe he played 1 Bayday, but he'd already used a supporter for the turn, and I believe he played 1 Counter Gain. So Counter Gain was the only scary card that exact turn, and even if he did Counter Gain, I didn't mind wasting a turn trying to find my Gust, because I still needed to ADP at some point in this game. So I kind of had a bit of a turn's leeway for him to obstruct freely whenever he wanted. So yeah, it wasn't too fussed. We do have the research to be able to start digging through the deck again. I do shuffle the switch back into the deck as well, just to try and keep access to our 1 crucial switch later on in the game. I do get another Catcher Heads, and because of this, again, I decide to go for just knocking out the Obstruct, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what I do, unless I'm mixing this up with a different game. I still have 1 catcher left and 3 custom catchers left. There's 1 in my prizes, so I still have a fair amount of Gust. Yeah, I do go for the knockout on the Obstagoon. Again, on reflection, I think this was an incorrect play. The Obstagoon was actually proving no threat right there. I have so much Gust that I can double Gust in this deck. I just should have ADP'd here and made it so 2 attacks win the game, because now I still have to take 2 knockouts. There's the Counter Gain, so that's not a threat on an Obstagoon anymore. He only plays the 1, so that wasn't too much of a worry. And there's still no Goons down right now, so even though, like I say, on reflection, I think this was all poorly played, I still feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. There's no Goons so far. He plays a 4-2-3 line from what I remember, so he still has like basically an access to a 2-2 Goon. He drops a Tie Rogue, which is a nice way of ending his turn when he is leaving Dolls in the active. That's pretty cool, and starts peppering up some more damage. He goes for a Dedenne, interestingly. I don't know whether I don't know why he went for the Dedenne. We do draw a custom catcher and then Primate Wisdom into to put it back on the deck, because I'm pretty sure I want to be ditching this hand to try and find more Gust, basically. So trying to save that custom catcher to pair it with another one later on in the game is really important. Again, I'm not too fussed that he gets a turn of having a Doll active here, because I still need to alter creation at some point. And I don't need to burn all this energy straight away. We're not doing anything right now, so I don't mind holding this energy. We don't need the Gust immediately, because we're not taking a knockout immediately. It would give us 1 extra turn to find the Gust, but even so, I don't think it was necessary to research just then, because I don't want to waste all of this energy. He drops the Koga's Trap, and honestly, this is a pretty big card, because it means that I, again, have to find my last switch or my one of... or I have to pay retreat and stuff like that, which is a bit awkward. I do Primate Wisdom into another custom catcher, which is really upsetting. It kind of means that I can't research this custom catcher away. Even though 1 is prized, I know Gusting is going to be my win con in this matchup, now that we have sort of various live targets on the board and some Dolls hitting the board as well. So I know this Gusting is really, really important, so I don't want to just fritter away 1 custom catcher. I know I'm probably going to have to use all 4 customs for their full effect. That's why I decided to hold on to the researchers. I could have tried to Ultimate Ray here and just punch through this Doll. Maybe that was correct. Maybe also setting up a Jirachi was correct. I don't know. I guess Ultimate Raying would have been fine. I don't think the damage mattered too much, because his Sableye is always getting a knockout on this, so I'm pretty sure, like I say, I feel like this was my worst played game of the day. I got way too greedy, I think, and I honestly do think I was punished for it, so I implore you to not play greedy against goons because it can punish you. But yeah, so I know I'm top decking a custom catcher, so I can definitely take this Sableye out. Again, I don't know what I shouldn't have taken the Sableye because then this goon is free to evolve. I got excited about taking extra prizes when I really didn't need to. I could have quite easily just gone for being able to take out a goon and then find my Gust later on in the game to take out whatever his last Pokemon was. If you put another Zigzagoon down, it would have been kind of scary. But I also know taking the 3 prizes, if I take my custom catcher, I win the game. Also, there's a catcher in there. So I have 2 live targets. One guarantees me the game. One's a 50-50 flip. Unfortunately, my last prize is the custom. I don't think that's why I lost this game. I think I made various different incorrect decisions during the game. I'm not too proud to admit that. If I had hit that custom, I would have won this game outright. Not that makes any of my plays more correct. But yeah, if I had hit the custom, I was guaranteed the game. So I felt confident in just going for the 3 prizes at the time. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Looking back on it, I definitely should have taken out this Zigzagoon. But hey ho, I instead, unfortunately, went down the route that I did. I have no switches left, so obviously he's aware of that, so he does gust up this Oranguru and tries to stall me out for a turn, which works. It means he has time to evolve into an Obstagoon, and you can see that I have very little cards left. I do know myself that I have a Marnie though, so I know I'm not dead to deck out, which is fine. So basically, it's all down to whether this catcher is a heads, and unfortunately it is a tails. At this point, there's nothing I can do. The deck plays no other answers. My last custom catcher is prized, and you can see my whole deck in my hand. I'd have to Marnie this turn, which is fine, but at the same time, you know, I don't have any way of doing anything with the rest of my cards. So unfortunately, I remember sitting here thinking, is there anything I can do here? But long story short, I will come to the conclusion that unfortunately there is nothing I can do. I think this game was winnable. I think I threw 1 or 2 times, honestly, which happens. I think I definitely could have played it better, though. Again, I'm not too proud to admit that. But yeah, that was round 4. Stay tuned for round 5 of this tournament.